Hey everybody, KC here. Hope you had a great weekend. So there was a story that ran in the Wall Street Journal over the weekend that I found really interesting. And it was about this new brand, and it's called NB44. And basically it's a lifestyle brand, and you pay $12,000 just to join the brand. And that doesn't get you even one item of clothing. It just gets you membership. And the journal writes that the medical world has concierge doctors. The golf world has elitist ivy-walled clubs. NB44 is just that approach, but for the clothing world. Behind its closed doors, members get an all-in-one packaging of styling, networking, shipping, bespoke designs, and even dry cleaning. The cost is steep, but for 1% of the 1%, it's a convenience worth the price. Now, the guy who came up with this was a guy named Nicholas Bijan, who is the son of a guy named Bijan Paxed, who was sort of this entrepreneur who was very, very well known during the late 70s and the 80s. He created this store called the House of Bijan, and they were on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, Fifth Avenue in New York. And basically, you had to make an appointment to get in, and you could have access to buy things like 65,000 crocodile skin luggage or $15,000 Vicuna coats, or there was $120,000 chinchilla bedspread. We're talking really high-end stuff here. And that he passed away. His son took over that business, and now he's launched this new business. And according to Bijan, over 5,000 people have filled out the prospective member questionnaire for NB44. Just under 100 have been admitted, more than half of whom are under 40 years of age. Now, some of them come from predictable places like Dubai, Kuwait, Qatar, London, New York, Los Angeles. But they also come from places that Bijan himself has never actually been to, like Charlotte, North Carolina, and Nashville. And some of these members, actually people who've been admitted, they even have Bijan's personal cell phone number that they can reach out to him if they need something. That's what membership gets them. Man, 1% of the top 1%. This is rarefied air, right? Now, what was interesting about this story is it actually came just a few days after the Wall Street Journal had another story, and it was about how Amex, Chase, and Capital One are opening these new clubs, these lounges, for people who carry their highest end cars. But not just lounges in airports. This is where we're all used to seeing them. They talked about the fact that American Express has a 17,000 square foot members only Centurion Club in a midtown Manhattan skyscraper. And it's the first permanent credit card lounge outside of an airport or that kind of location. They say it marks a new phase in decades-long competition among credit card companies to win over big spenders with perks as they market as luxurious and one-of-a-kind brands. This is really kind of interesting that these two stories ran in relatively close proximity to each other. Now, I find these kinds of stories also a little ironic, considering we're having a big debate in this country about the health of the economy. Obviously, it's pretty healthy for some folks, but I think just as obviously the fact that this is rarefied air, limited to just a few people, sort of underlines the fact that there are an awful lot of people who are still struggling. And it also underlines the fact that we have a lot of income inequality in this country. And to a lesser extent, I do think this is some of the stuff that sort of irritates frontline retail employees who are struggling to get by, especially when they see that the people in the C-suite are making a phenomenal amount of money, sometimes tens of millions of dollars, just for signing a contract and showing up. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Brian Nickel. But I have a larger point sort of to make about both the NB44 brand and the high-end credit card clubs. See, in their own way, what they're doing is they are creating community. The highfalutin folks would call it networking, but they're creating community around their brands. And I think that's actually a valuable service that has both tangible and intangible value. It seems to me that there's the kind of thing that every retailer, no matter who the target audience is, ought to be thinking about. They ought to be figuring out how do we create community among our customers. Now listen, there are a lot of companies out there that have loyalty marketing programs or frequent shopper programs. But that's usually, increasingly, okay, that's a way to either sell them people more stuff or actually sell that data to advertisers so they can get to them through things like, retail media networks. They're not using that information as a way of finding commonality and creating community. Is it short-term smart just to sell people more stuff? Maybe. But I think they're really missing an enormous opportunity here, which is to forge ties between the store and the customer that actually do bind and that can actually help the retailer achieve new heights. Anyway, that's what's on my mind. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.